The Game Awards were yesterday and PlayStation Experience is tomorrow. Let's press X. So the Game Awards happened last night and we got a ton of awards given out, a couple reveals, and a few notable moments that happened, and I'm going to go over what I thought was important about it at least. Probably the biggest announcement for me was that Psychonauts 2 is coming. Tim Schafer got on stage, he announced that it's going live on a Kickstarter-style program. He said he's been getting tons of tweets all the time about when is Psychonauts 2 coming, when is Psychonauts 2 coming, and he's happy to finally announce that it is coming. $3.3 million is what they're asking for. They already had $1.1 million as of last time I checked, so they'll definitely hit their goal. Shaq got on stage and announced a new Shaq Fu. This isn't a game that I have much of an affiliation with personally, though I know it's kind of a cult favorite of people, very similar to the Michael Jackson game. So if you're interested in the Shaq Fu style game, this is for you. Speaking of cult favorite games, Shadow Complex was announced that it's getting remastered for the PS4, the PC, and the Xbox One. So if you're one of those fans of that game, be excited. I personally don't know much of anything about this game. Am I missing out on something? Because I keep hearing it brought up in conversations like of nostalgia. People are like, oh yeah, and then there's Shadow Complex. And I'm like, I don't even know what that game is. So maybe it's something I need to look into. Let me know. Winner of Independent Game of the Year, which I totally agree with, Rocket League had a big announcement, and that was that they are coming to the Xbox One in February. It is notable that there won't be cross-play in this version of the game. While PlayStation 4 users can play with PC users and vice versa, Xbox users will not be able to play with PC users or PS4 users. Microsoft seems keen on not letting people on the Xbox console play with people on the PlayStation console, and this is just more evidence of that. So if you were looking to play your friend that has it on Steam, sorry, you're out of luck unless you play it on Steam yourself or you play it on PS4. However, there are some exclusive cars coming for the Xbox version, and there's one from Halo, it's like the Warthog, and it's very awesome, and the other one is their other big franchise, Gears of War. Rock Band VR is announced and coming to the Oculus. No word on if it's coming to Project Morpheus or PlayStation VR as it's now known, but we'll just have to wait and see. They didn't show much gameplay or much of anything about the game. It was more of a developer diary style thing, but I'm actually very interested in this. This is a game that could work really, really well with VR, and I'm looking forward to future announcements and things. Perhaps at PSX we'll learn that it is coming to PlayStation VR as well. Probably the announcement that got me the second most excited, Telltale's doing a new game, surprise, surprise, and this time it's Batman. It's really interesting because they are doing an Avengers Marvel game, and now it looks like they're doing DC's Batman. I would have personally preferred a Superman game. I don't know how Telltale juggles all of these games. They have Batman, they have the new Walking Dead, which we also saw a trailer for. They have the Avengers game, they have Minecraft Story Mode, they finished up the Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us, they just finished Borderlands, Game of Thrones. They're juggling all of these games at once. They're not that big of a studio, and honestly, I wouldn't mind if they took a little break and maybe fixed up their engine, polished everything, and then came back swinging with a bunch more games rather than releasing the games constantly with only minor improvements. It reminds me of something like a sports game where they just don't have time to innovate as much as they would if they just took a little bit of a break. An announcement that really surprised me was the new Mortal Kombat DLC characters. Bora Cho? I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but he was announced as a returning character. Then we also had the Cyrax clan of robots as returning characters as well. But the other two in the pack are the ones that interest me. Leatherface and Alien. So this is really interesting because they already have Jason Voorhees, and they had Freddy in the last Mortal Kombat, so it's very likely that they could get him again. And I feel like they should just stop right here and make a slasher movie fighting game. They did great work with Injustice and the DC properties, and if they somehow were able to acquire the likes of Leprechaun and even lesser known ones, the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, things like that, they could make a really awesome fighting game devoted completely to slasher characters. I personally would play as Jigsaw, if that was an option. I have no clue how that would work. Just a little side note. As far as the award show went, It was a lot better this year. This was by far the best year. Jeff Keely really outdid himself as far as the previous years at least, and I was genuinely very happy with everything that happened. There wasn't much in the way of blunders except for maybe this one.
And the winner of Best Performance is Viva Seifert, The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3.
But that was on the Game Awards, whoever wrote that, and they fixed it and apologized afterwards. Some of the awards that were given out that I agree with: Best Art Direction went to Ori and the Blind Forest. I feel like that was almost a no-brainer. Splatoon, not on the ballot for that one. I feel like Splatoon has really good art direction too, but I would personally give it to Ori as well. As I talked about already, the best indie game went to Rocket League. I 100% agree with that. In fact, I think Rocket League is a solid Game of the Year contender for other outlets, and it will win many Game of the Year titles. They gave Game of the Year to The Witcher. Not my style game, not something I'm interested in. I would have liked to see it go to something that's not the same thing they gave it to last year. They gave it to Dragon Age, which is a very similar game. As far as best soundtrack goes, I highly agree that Metal Gear Solid has one of the best soundtracks of the year. It has awesome licensed music, and its original score is fantastic as well. However, once again, I think Splatoon has a really good soundtrack, and it wasn't on the list. And finally, for the Game Awards talk, I want to point out 3 notable moments that weren't necessarily rewards or announcements. The first one is Jeff Keely put on a very nice tribute to Satoru Iwata, who passed away earlier this year. Reggie came out and gave a meaty speech about him, kind of talked about him as a person and him as a game designer and what he's done for the industry. And it was really touching and very sweet. The other big one that I want to talk about is, once again, Kojima and Konami Drama. Kojima planned on being there for the awards. It's a celebration of an art form that he takes part in. He is the creator of a game that's a nominee for tons of topics, including the biggest one, Game of the Year. However, Konami barred him from being there. They said that they would file a lawsuit if he showed up, and they had Kiefer Sutherland accept the reward on behalf of Kojima. Kudos to Jeff Keely for telling it like it is. He stood on stage and said it's because Konami wouldn't let him be here, and that got the crowd reactions, tons of boos, which is actually pretty awesome.
Is not here with us tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about that. Mr. Kojima had every intention of being with us tonight, but unfortunately he was informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's awards ceremony to accept any awards.
And then everybody clapped when he said, Kojima's watching at home, let's show him, that we care about him. So I just thought that was really interesting. It's rare that you see shots fired like that at an event, especially that big, but it's against Konami. I'm so sick of all this Kojima bickering back and forth, and I'm really excited whenever Kojima's allowed to speak on the topic what happened, because clearly whatever happened between the two was something that Konami is clearly scared of it getting out in the public. And finally, I want to end the show with just 5 real quick predictions for PlayStation Experience. 1, PlayStation VR is going to be a big talk. They're going to give you the price, they're going to give you the release date possibly, and they're going to announce what the release games are. The games that are launching with the system, and one of them will be No Man's Sky. 2, PlayStation 2 emulation is real, we know that already, but they will go on stage, officially announce it, release some trailers for some games that are coming to it, including Dark Cloud 2, Mark of Kai, these games that have been rated and registered in other territories. They're coming with trophies, updated, emulated. 3, Kingdom Hearts 3 and possibly the prologue gets a new trailer. Hopefully it is the D23 trailer that everybody was so emotional over when it was announced, and it will be translated to English, and that's why we didn't get the trailer when it was released. They didn't release the Japanese version to the public. They will release them after the show. 4, this is the least likely of the options, but Dark Cloud 3. I just really want this game. They're clearly bringing Dark Cloud 1 and 2 to the PlayStation 4 very, very soon, probably by the end of the year, so that leaves room for Dark Cloud 3 to be announced at this show, and this is the show that you would want to do that to. This is where all the fans are that would be really interested in something like that. It's very possible that it's Ni no Kuni 2. Level 5 Studios did work on Ni no Kuni, which was a huge success, so it doesn't really make sense to leave that franchise, but I personally would rather see Dark Cloud 3. And finally, I think the show ends, and we have one more thing for you, and it is, ta-da, God of War 4. I don't think it'll star Kratos. I don't even know if it'll be called God of War 4. It might pull the infamous Second Son, Killzone Shadowfall thing, where they just add a subtitle and it's a brand new story. I wouldn't be surprised if it's God of War, Norse, whatever, or some other mythology. I would love Egyptian personally, but we'll just have to see. So what are your predictions for PlayStation Experience? And if you're watching it after that, because it is tomorrow, what did you think of the show and what was your favorite announcement? Let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and by the way, guys, the Uncharted 4 beta is live if you have the Uncharted collection, and it's really awesome, so you should check it out. But as always, I'm Kevin McManus. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you made it this far, and I'll speak with you guys next time.